beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and ColourPop monochromatic collections are back. This time it's all about mauve. We are making mauves today. I'm sorry about that mom joke that I just made. Probably gonna be more of those in this video. This is sort of a mid-size collection for ColourPop. There are 2 pressed powder blushes, 2 luxe glosses, 2 Super Shock shadows, and a 9-pan palette. Of course, we're gonna go through everything. I'm gonna show you close-ups. There's some really cute packaging in this collection. I'm gonna do swatches. I'll be doing a little demo tutorial with some of these products, and I will do just a couple comparisons with the eyeshadow palette. So we're gonna do a little bit of everything. I don't have final confirmation on all the prices for this collection. I will list all that info as I get confirmation down in the description box below for you, but I do have some pretty decent guesses. And as you can probably already tell, since I am filming this video and putting it up before the collection launches, ColourPop did send all this stuff to me. I've actually had my little hands on this for a while, and I have a lot of thoughts about these products, so let's get into them. Let's start with these pressed powder blushes. The pressed powder blushes are typically sold for $8 US, so I'm guessing these will be $8 or $9. These are so cute. Here is the outer packaging. This is a plastic packaging. It does have a magnetic closure. Look at the little flower detail. This is so pretty. I just really like this. Beautiful for spring. Of course, there's a little sticker on the back that tells you the shade name. And then when you open up inside, there is a mirror in here. And look at this blush. It's got the little flower stamped in it. This is so freaking cute. I can't be the only one that's just very excited by this. And this is the outer carton for the blush. It's the same print that is on the eyeshadow palette and on the rest of the outer cartons. I think this is really pretty. Here's a close-up of both blushes in the pans. The lighter pinkier one is called Catch My Vibe, and then the more nudie mauve one is called Coast to Coast. I am wearing Coast to Coast on my cheeks, so you'll get to see me apply that later during the demo. Now let's take a look at some finger swatches of these blushes. That way you can see them applied to the skin side by side and really get a feeling for the similarities and differences. Catch My Vibe is the more pinky shade, and then Coast to Coast is the more mauve-y nude, kind of cool tone nude shade. Next, let's move on to the lip products in this collection. We have 2 new luxe gloss shades. The packaging on the glosses themselves are not special packaging. This is the regular luxe gloss packaging that's on the rest of the line. We have the same oversized doe foot with that little scoop on the end. These do seem to be the exact same formula as the others. They do have a light fruity scent. They're not very sweet. They're not very passion fruity smelling like the Just a Tint lip crayons. These just have a light little fruity scent to them. They do have special packaging on the outer cartons. I'll try to refrain from saying how pretty I think this is for the millionth time. The luxe glosses are typically individually priced at $8 US a piece, so I'm guessing these will be around about that price point as well. Here's an arm swatch of both shades side by side. Again, just easier to tell any similarities or differences in a swatch like this. So the lighter, pinkier shade is called Check In. That is the one I'm wearing on my lips throughout the talking portions of the video. Then we have a slightly deeper, more purpley mauve shade called Figgy Wit It. Now we're moving on to the eyes. So excited to see some new Super Shock shadows. It's been a while since we got some new Super Shock shades, and I'm pretty happy about it. This Super Shock duo is called Merci Bouquet. So the special packaging, same artwork, has the shade names labeled on the back, and then this insert slides out, and then the Super Shocks will be safely packed in there. And the shadows themselves do have special packaging, same style, same shape and size. They just are these really cute little pale pinky pots instead of the regular white. These are both labeled as ultra metallic finishes. They are pretty glittery, and the lighter shade called Day Trippin' does have a little bit of a blue shift to it. I also used this one in the demo, so you'll get to see that in action. Here's a little arm swatch for you. We have Day Trippin', the lighter shade, and then Bloomer is the deeper color. Okay, it's time for everybody's favorite part, or maybe not everybody's favorite part, but my favorite part, the eyeshadow palette. This is the Making Mauves 9-pan palette. These are typically priced at $14 US a piece, so I'm guessing this one will be the same. When we look at the front of both the palette and the outer carton, exact same artwork here. Then looking to the back, we have all the shade names. And guess what, guys? No eye safety warnings. Yay! That's right. No eye safety warnings, no glitters, no pigment warnings, all eye safe shades. Yes, those are some of my favorite words I ever get to say to you, and I get to say them today. Yay! The palette itself is a heavy-duty cardboard. It does have a very satisfying magnetic closure. When we open up here, no mirror inside. All 9 shades laid out with the little shade names right next to the pans. Love that. Taking a look at these shadows here, we have 3 shimmer shades across the center row here. Now this last shade called Mauve on Top, it is so buttery, it almost feels like a Super Shock shadow, but not quite. And it's not labeled anywhere on the palette or the outer carton that there's anything other than just regular pressed powder shadows in here. Typically, they label if there are Super Shocks or pressed glitters inside. There's nothing to indicate that this is a Super Shock. I'm not 100% sure because this does feel pretty bouncy, but I'm fairly certain that there are just 3 really metallic, gorgeous shimmers in here. Then we have 5 true mattes and 1 matte with just a little bit of purple glitter in it. This shade down here in the corner called Tongue Tied has a very subtle purple shifty micro glitter. The rest are all true mattes. So now that you have all the details, let's take a look at the swatches of this Making Mauves palette. If you've been here for a while, you know exactly what I'm about to say. I will be doing both finger and brush swatches. On the inside of my arm, no primer down first, just the shadows straight onto my skin. The finger swatches will be on top, and then each corresponding brush swatch will be directly below. Just like I always do for my brush swatches, I'll be using my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush, and I'll clean the brush off in between each shade using my Veramona color switch. That way there's no transfer between swatches. So let's go ahead and take a look at the swatches of this palette now. I almost needed to remind myself that these are both finger and brush swatches because the brush swatches look just as opaque and smooth and perfect as the finger swatches across the board. The mattes, the metallics, everything performs so beautifully, either applied with the finger or with a brush. Can you tell that I'm crazy about this palette? The formula is amazing. Now that you've seen the palette swatched, let's jump into a quick tutorial. I will be using, of course, the Making Mauves palette. I'll also show you a blush application using one of the blushes from this collection. So let's take a look at the little demo tutorial portion now, and then I'll show you some comparisons and wrap up all my thoughts at the end. We're starting with the blush first. I am using this pressed powder blush called Coast to Coast. Just using my favorite little Eco Tools blush brush to apply that, and it was really pretty and nice and soft. It looks great with the rest of the colors in this collection. Now we're gonna get to the eye look. Of course, I'm priming my eyes first with the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Then I'm gonna give my lids a quick once over with this really light shade called R&R, just so that I have a nice smooth surface to blend everything on top of. For my crease shade, I'm going to take Big Mauves. This is another matte shade. This one has a little bit more of a lavendery mauve feel to it. So I'm just building that up in my crease area. This is super smooth, really easy to blend. I absolutely love all the mattes in this palette so much. And speaking of mattes, we're going to mix the 2 darkest mattes in this palette, Marquee and Big Fig, on a small fluffy brush. That's just getting really quickly added to the outer half of my lid, not being too precise there, just sort of slapping on this color. Then I'm going to go in with Big Mauves again and just give that a quick little blend, just smooth everything out. Next, I'm taking the shade Solitaire. This is more of a brown-based shade, and I'm putting that along my lower lash line with a small flat brush. Next, I went into the Super Shock shadow in the shade Day Trippin'. Using my pinky finger, I added that to my inner corner as my highlight shade. Then going back into the Making Mauves palette with the shade Mauve on top, I really just quickly applied that across my lid with my pointer finger. Used a little bit of this warmer shade called A La Mode to blend out the outer part of that shimmer on the lid. Then for a little bit of added depth, I added some more Marquee and Big Fig mixture to the very, very outer corner of my eye so that I could get a little bit more of a smoky look. Curled my lashes and added my CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara, and that finishes off my look. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I typically don't gravitate so much towards cool tones, and I fear that they're going to make me look a little bit punched in the eye. I didn't have that experience with this palette at all. I've been using it and loving it. Every look I do, I love as much as this one. Before we move on to my review of this collection, I just want to show you a few comparisons. I usually do 5 or 6. I only did 3 for this one. First of all, there's just not a ton of palettes that I felt really begged for comparison. Plus, since I'm including the tutorial, I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. So let's take a look at 3 ColourPop palette comparisons. First up is the Blush Crush palette. I think a cursory glance at these palettes just in the pan, you can tell they're definitely not dupes. They have a pretty different vibe, but I do think a lot of people are going to be curious just how they compare, and I really like this comparison, especially because you can see how beautifully these two palettes would work together. Blush Crush is warmer, it's definitely more pink, so I don't think these are really similar at all, especially when you see the other comparisons that we're going to do, but they do look nice together. I do think people are going to be curious how they compare, so not dupes for sure, but they would be great companion palettes. Next up is the Flutterby palette. This is a great comparison. I think this is the most similar ColourPop palette there is. I do think there are quite a few shades that are dupes, or at least really, really close enough. In my opinion, if you already have Flutterby and you already love it, then you probably don't need to pick up this Making Mauves palette. However, if you held off on buying Flutterby, especially because I know a lot of you guys are like me and you don't like the pressed glitters, Flutterby does have pressed glitter. So if you were holding out for a color story like this, but you're not trying to mess with the not eye safe shades, then Making Mauves is the perfect alternative for you. Last comparison is the Bare Necessities palette. I think that Bare Necessities is just gonna have to get compared to every neutral ColourPop palette that ever comes out. There are a couple shades that are similar. I don't think there's really that many similar shades, but I guess it just depends on your perspective. I'm sure a lot of the makeup junkies like me look at these and say, oh, nope, not similar, but somebody else might look and say, it's close enough, it's all neutrals, right? So it just depends on your perspective. I don't think these are that similar, but definitely more similar than Blush Crush. So there you have it, that's the comparisons. I don't know why I didn't think of the Truly Madly Deeply palette when I was grabbing some palettes for comparison. This is definitely a good comparison. I don't think it's as on the nose as the Flutterby palette. Truly Madly Deeply is a little bit warmer, but you can get the same sort of idea here. Again, the Truly Madly Deeply palette does have some of those pressed glitters, so Making Mauves could be a great alternative for those of you who, like me, are not a fan of the pressed glitters. But I did want to make sure that I included this fourth comparison as well. Now you've seen everything, tutorials, swatches, comparisons, everything close up, in person, in action, and I have to tell you, if you can't already tell, I love this collection. I can't remember the last time that I could say I love every single piece in a ColourPop collection. Usually there are things that I really love and then I don't love other parts. This whole collection just hit the mark for me, which is crazy because I'm not really that much of a cool tone girl. I typically gravitate more towards warm tones, but this is just done so right. It's curated beautifully. The shadow quality is insane. Mattes and shimmers alike performed so well. Buttery, opaque, blendable, looks great on the eye in my opinion. Not trying to brag, but I think that my eye look turned out great. These types of colors tend to look bruisey really quickly, and I don't feel like I had that experience at all. I love the Luxe glosses. I love Super Shock shadows. Really happy to see some new Super Shock shades. The pressed powder blushes, I've said before and I will say again, ColourPop blushes don't get enough hype. Their pressed powder and their Super Shock blushes are amazing. The detailing on these blushes is absolutely gorgeous. There's just nothing bad for me to say at all. Everything's eye safe, everything's pretty, everything worked well for me. It all works cohesively together. I'm trying to remember the last time I loved everything. Was it the Strawberry Shake collection? Maybe it was then. I can't even remember. I mean, they come out with a lot of stuff. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about this collection. Are you as sold on this as I am? Have you been waiting for these cool tones? What are your thoughts on this? I always love to hear what you guys think about these things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Just easier to tell the similarities. Oh, ColourPop. ColourPop, ColourPop, ColourPop. Whew. A little too excited. Yikes. Okay. Oh, dang it. They always get me with their cute names. They're so corny, but they're so cute. She's a lady. I'm typically not a cool tone girl, but I really, really like this eye look. A lot. Where is my swatch brush? Wow. Just like old times, I haven't lost my swatch brush in a while. Here it is. It's just this whoa, that one got away from me. Huh? ColourPop blush. I love it. I love it all. Man, some of us are trying to work over here, okay? Whatever. Anyway, who knows what I'm talking about. Thoughts? Have you been? Whew. That's the T. That's the Diet DP. T. Sis. I don't know. Okay, I've got to go film another video. Okay, bye.